Hey everybody, welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. My name is Zach Brittle. I'm here with Laura Heck. You know, every week I start out by saying thank you for listening, and every once in a while I have to remember, I really am quite grateful that you are taking the time to listen. It means a lot. Believe it or not, we love what we do. We're also trying to figure out how to keep doing it, and it's folks like you that help us stay on the air, as it were. So I'm grateful for you regardless. And we have an invitation inside the episode for you to continue to support Marriage Therapy Radio and help us keep the lights on or the sound waves on or whatever it is that you want to say. So I hope you'll take a minute to consider that. And I think we have some cool things planned, which is I hope that you'll take advantage of as well. In this episode, Laura asks a question that's coming out of her office, and we just mess around with it. I actually kind of dig it. I really enjoy thought experiments, and this is a thought experiment really around complaining. And if you have thoughts about complaining after you hear the episode, definitely send them our way. We'd love to hear from you. For now, this is a very cool conversation. Stick around.
Hiya.
I got both of my kids home. My daughter came home this week. Abby came home from school.
Oh, is she home for the whole summer?
Yeah, she's here.
Is she going to be a senior next year?
They're both going to be seniors. So that's how I remember.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Juice.
She's here. She's chilling. Wow. She is. She's going to be teaching theater this summer here in town, which is cool.
So cool.
And we just get to. So now I have all three of my wives in my house.
Yes, you do. Yeah. All right. Good luck. I will send you text messages. Know that if you need to tap out, come to Bend for a little bit as a little escape, you know where your room is.
Yeah, that's cool. We're escaping this weekend. We're driving. We're not driving near to you. Mary, the other one, is playing in the state tennis tournament this weekend. So she, she and her doubles partner are expecting to make a run. We just hope they place in the state somewhere. So that'll be cool. Top 8 place.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What updates? Have I told you about my mountain bike? I went to girl camp.
And I saw some pictures.
You saw pictures? Oh,
did you put it on Instagram or something?
No, I don't think I did.
Maybe we just started following your bike club, and I was looking at pictures of the bike club.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. So I joined this weekend bike club. What?
Last night I was out on a date with Rebecca, and I sent a picture to the people, and I did the pose where you suck your stomach in and look like, a different shape than you actually are. And then you sent me a picture of you and Ryan on a motorbike or on your mountain bikes, and I was like, Ryan's totally doing the pose. Like, look at his pecs just busting out of his shirt.
His pecs are popping.
Yeah.
He's been working hard, and good. I can tell. And
not good, but that's cool.
No, it's good.
I'm glad he really needed to. I was wondering about how he is.
No, he asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and because I'm going to turn 40 in July. Mm-hmm. And I said, I want to be in the best shape of my life by the time I'm 40. And that's not going to happen, but I'll be in better shape than I was in January. Mm-hmm. But he said, so for your birthday, would you like for me to be in really good shape? And I said, yes, I would like to see all your abs. Yeah. So he sort of offered it up, but I also, yes. And for me, it is 2-part. One, I am attracted to my husband when he's lean and svelte, but it is more important that he can do all of the activities that we really enjoy doing. So him being healthy and him having internal confidence that comes from being comfortable in his own body is really important to me. So that's where that is.
Well, happy birthday.
But anyway, I went to this lady camp. I learned how to ride my mountain bike. I did not lose any skin, which is very important to me. I didn't hurt myself. But, I got to be immersed in a culture that is predominantly men, and it was all women, all female coaches. It was very open, and it was very cool. And I rode here's the thing. The camp was 2 days long, 2 full days. Guess how many miles I rode on my bike? Just guess.
2 days of riding. I'm going to say you rode 80 miles.
I rode 7 miles because I was 100% put into the kid. They start, listing. They have 60 women, and they're like, "We're going to divide you up into groups based on how you filled out your initial surveys of your experience on mountain bikes." And they start calling names, and I'm like, "Name number 2, Laura Heck. You're over here." And, it's like the rat pack of women who have like fallen off bikes or afraid of bikes, have never been on a mountain bike. And, I have experience. Obviously, I did an Ironman or half Ironman. Like, I've been riding my road bike. I have no idea how to ride an actual bike. And so my expectation, this is actually good. My expectation was I'm going to get a killer workout. I'm going to be outside all day long. I'm going to burn calories. I fueled that morning. And the teachers are there to teach me how to use my brakes, how to steer, how to basic levels. So I walked away with a lot of new information, but zero exercise. That first day, I rode my bike 2 miles.
Well, it's probably good. It's probably good that you got the basics and some confidence. And I bet those 7 miles were like really quality 7 miles.
You know what? I was doing everything correctly. I rode my bike properly for 7 miles.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That's worth it.
That's my update. And now I feel very confident on my bike and on social media. I might push. My husband and I went for a bike ride the other day. It was really fun. So you might get to see a picture of Mr. Ryan Heck.
Yeah.
Cool. Not sucking in his stomach. That's just all natural.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you today. I wanted to take a minute, you guys out there in listener land. We woke up our Patreon, and I want to talk to you about why we did that and what that's about. We are launching a book coming in September, which is really exciting, and we hope that you all participate. The best way to be in touch about that is to let us know how to reach out with you, and we can keep you in touch with how to support the launch. It's going to be really important that you guys step up and make us bestsellers and get us on Good Morning America. But also just wanted to
my gosh, can you imagine if we got on Good Morning America?
Yeah, I think that's not going to happen.
But. No, that's all right. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
But also, we are in need. We need your help. We need your support. We need your help to keep the lights on. And we have been doing some advertising, which is quite good. And we have the workshops, which are helpful. But we are at a point now where we're kind of trying to figure out how to make sure that we can pay for this thing. And so we're hoping to include you as Patreon members. We have a couple of different tiers that I want to tell you about. And actually, I'm pretty excited about two of them in particular. But the the basic one is just come on board, buy us a cup of coffee once a month, and that way we'll have your email and we'll be in touch with you. And Laura's going to be, I don't know, what are you doing? What are you planning? Got some big dreams in store.
Patreon has a way for me to interact with folks. Like we can communicate back and forth. I thought what I would do is we have the podcast. We stick to a lot of like our the professional side of the podcast, but I think Patreon is a great place for us to interact more on a personal level. So, I mean, there's times when I get really excited. I'm like, you guys, I just started using this new face cream. I have to tell you about it. Or like I discovered this mascara I'm really pumped about. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have ways of me being able to share like my favorite things that I'm really pumped about, like recipes or cookbooks or...
The newsletter might be a good place for me to put all those song lyrics that make me cry. They'd like back behind the scenes info.
Totally.
Help people, like, to give people that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm into it.
I think that's a little bit of what I'm intending to do is kind of give people more access, I would say, to us and us personally, and just share the stuff that it's not everyone's jam. Some people don't like to listen to our banter. They just want to hear the guests give them little nuggets of wisdom. But if your jam is to know what's happening in like our lives and like the books that Zach is reading and the lyrics that make him cry and all that stuff.
How Mary Did It State. Oh, I'm into this. I think, this is like behind the scenes email, which I'm excited about. We have two more tiers. That's like the buy us a cup of coffee level. Then there's like kind of the buy us a sandwich level. But this is the one that I'm actually really excited about. I think we've been teasing this on the podcast, but we've been systematically recording a little spin-off series called So I Married a Relationship Expert. And we packaged it up. It's relationship experts and their spouses talking about their work and how it lands in their marriage. The very first interview that we have is going to be with Laura and I talking to Ryan and Rebecca. which is exciting. That's been the number one most requested interview. So if you're interested in,
by the way, Ryan and Rebecca are our spouses.
Yeah.
In case they're like, who's Ryan and Rebecca?
Yeah.
Rebecca is Zach's spouse. Ryan is mine.
Yeah. And they have plenty to say, trust me, about what it's like to be married to a relationship expert. But we talked to Terry Real, we talked to Lemon Nagoski, we talked to Ellen Bader. All of these are like giants in the field of therapy work. And we're going to roll that out in the summer. So those of you who get on board with the Buy Us a Sandwich level, we're going to give you early and exclusive access to that. And we may even like shout out your name on the podcast and give you like kudos and props. And then the third tier is a little more advanced. And this is something that I actually was kind of excited to find a place for this, because I wrote this book called The Marriage Therapy Journal. I wrote it in kind of right before the pandemic. I released it, self-published it myself. I self-published it myself on February the 29th, 2020. And I had big hopes and big dreams for how I was going to land in the world and land in my practice. It's basically a book I wrote to mirror what it's like to work with me. And so I decided to kind of at this third tier to create a little book club. So those of you who join at the third tier, I'm going to send out emails kind of every other week with a chapter from the book and some thoughts on how to work it out. I intend to be in communication with you regularly about what you're doing, and then kind of sharing insights from other folks that are going to be in the book club. I really do want to have that be a thing. I tried to launch it once during COVID. It didn't quite work out. But this is the perfect place. And it's just a way for us to give back to you as you support the podcast, which again is, we're kind of in this space where we have to figure out how to spend less than we make. And we haven't been doing that very well lately. And so really counting on you to step up. And I'll say one more thing, which is I know that there are some of you out there who could give us $25 or $50 or $100 a month without blinking. It would not change your life at all. But it would change our life quite a bit. And it would be a way for you to support the podcast, kind of not so much because of what you get, but because of just your appreciation and gratitude and desire to make the world a better place through good relationship content. So this is our pitch to sort of say, please go over to Patreon, pick a tier that works for you. In particular, if you're excited about the book, which I hope everyone is, just come in, buy us a cup of coffee once a month, and we will be delighted to share with you behind the scenes content and also keep you posted about how that book's going to roll out. And then if you want some more stuff, in particular, I'm really excited about the book club, and I look forward to leading that with folks. Maybe consider buying us a sandwich or buying us a whole lunch. And for those of you who can and feel inclined just to support the podcast just because, we have a couple of sort of non-committal tiers listed that you can just sort of plug in and say, hey, we're into you. And Jason will appreciate it. We're trying to pay for our editing and some other expenses that have kind of come down the pike in this process. And we just want to appreciate you and ask you again for your help. Yeah. And that's my pitch for now.
I like it. I like the pitch. And it is interesting because I was on my bike ride chatting with my girlfriend, and she goes, well, how much do you make? Right? Like thinking this has been it's a very successful podcast, meaning that we have people who listen that benefit from it. It has grown. We have over 320 episodes. Like it is a successful podcast. But success does not mean that it pays us. In fact, this has been a labor of love, and probably more on Zach's behalf, which he doesn't tell me because he does the financials. But we don't make any money off of it, and we have to pay our producers and our social media people. And we're getting to the point where we're kind of like, do we like continue to pay for this out of our pocket and have it be like this wonderful service to the world? Or could we spread it around a little bit and see if there's other people that might be able to support us and keep the lights on? So when you say buy us a cup of coffee, it's literally not us drinking coffee that you bought us. It's us paying the people who make this possible. Yeah. And not ourselves. Because
the other sob story you don't really need to know is that because podcasts are beginning to get so big and there are so many, the advertising dollars are spreading out. So we're having less opportunity than we've had before, which has always been real nice, particularly for those of you who have supported our sponsors. But another great way to support the podcast Marriage Therapy Radio is in fact to support our sponsors using the links that we provide. We're just trying to kind of noodle this out a little bit. We have a lot of really cool things planned to roll out over the next few months. And we are excited about the long tail for Marriage Therapy Radio. But again, we need your help. Okay.
Oof. All right.
End of pitch.
And if
and then you had something that was like coming up for you that I'm excited to talk about because it comes up for me all the time.
Yeah, it totally does. It's funny because I try and tell folks this all the time, that when I talk about what I see in my practice, it is always a conglomeration of people over the last 12 years that I've been practicing. It's not one couple in particular. So listen to this with a grain of salt, in that I have seen two groups of people shake out in like this relationship. One is, hey, you complain a lot and you complain too much. And then I have the other camp of people where it's like, you don't complain enough and I need to know how I can make things better. I need you to complain. I need you to use your words. And so what I'm seeing is just this vast, what would you call that? Delta between folks where we either have the non-complainers or we have those who complain too much. And I want to talk about what that looks like. Like, what is the benefit of being in a relationship with a non-complainer? Or what is the detriment of being in a relationship with a non-complainer? And then I want to talk about what to do, because I really think that the goal is to meet in the middle. And it is important to complain in the relationship, but what happens when we complain too much? What happens when we don't complain enough? And then I wanted to shoot it over to you because I'm kind of curious, like, do you also see this in your practice where it's not a happy medium? You're not in the middle. You are on either side of this tail.
Me personally, or like when I have clients that come in this way?
When you have clients, yeah.
Well, I think, let's start at the very top here, which is, I think that something that we repeat all the time is that when people are complaining, they are covering up an ask. A complaint is a bad ask. And so for me, it's really a question about, do you ask too much or do you not ask enough? Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know that there is such a thing as asking for too much. I do believe there's such a thing as not asking for enough of what you want in the relationship. But I think we need to figure out how to ask without complaint. Right. So I don't know if that's exactly the question you're asking or the direction that you want to kind of lean into, but
that's fine.
This is the first thing that happens to me, is to kind of go, what are we talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say a complaint is a bad ask, I kind of go, I'm okay with complaining. I'm okay with saying, hey, this doesn't serve me. I don't like this. This doesn't feel good to me. I'm having a response to this that's not very positive. So I think that complaining is okay, but we also need to be really good and clear about giving our partner the secret sauce of how to make it better. So I would just say a complaint is like an incomplete ask. That if you want to make your complaint successful, it needs to also include, like, not only, hey, here's how I'm feeling in the moment and I don't like it and I want to make it better. It also has to have the request, the ask piece. So it's just, to me, it's an incomplete ask. Okay. All right.
So we might be talking semantics, but I'm into it. Like, part of it is describing the thing that you're unhappy with.
Right.
I think a bad complaint includes criticism. This is the little ladder that we've talked about a lot of time. You have sort of an ask. A bad ask is a complaint. A bad complaint is a criticism. I kind of did that reverse order. Criticism is a bad complaint. Complaint's a bad ask. So in terms of if just looking at the world and seeing that the world doesn't work for you, or it's not working the way that you want, whether that's traffic or your partner's, style of washing the dishes or whatever, maybe there's something about that is worth naming out loud. And some people have a higher need or tolerance for that than others. I think that's true. I think there are people who look at the world and go, this is broken. And I don't even think they're like glass half empty people. I think they're people that have a little bit more of a discerning view. I think in the Myers-Briggs, which is that thing that, you're an INTJ or ENFP, like there's one that is, the last one is, are you an S or a P? INTJ, no, a J or a P, which is a judger versus a perceiver. Right. And so there's something about sort of perceiving the world in a certain way, but then there's others who look at the world and say, and thus this needs to happen because of their capacity for judgment. And I don't think I think just like anything else, you can be too high on either side of that scale.
Right.
But what we're talking about is trying to figure out how to take a complaint and turn it into something operational.
Yeah. You started talking about one of the pieces, and I'm glad you brought it up, which is if I'm in a relationship with someone that I have identified as you complain too much, too many complaints. And that's my complaint. My complaint is that you have too many needs, too many asks, too many wants, too many complaints, and I don't have any. And it feels uncomfortable. The first thing I think about is, like you said, the world needs criticizers. The world needs people who are able to identify things when they're not working and make things better. And that's really what a criticizer is someone who just simply looks at the world kind of like through a lens that is like, this isn't working, I can make it better. This isn't working like that. You can see how we have engineers who, like a whole industry of people where that is like praised. But when it doesn't work in a relationship is when the criticism is, or I guess just the critical eye, is perceived as, I'm never good enough. I can't do it to your standard. And it just feels very defeating when you are partnered with someone that has a critical eye and you are now on the other side of that going, I can never be good enough. I can never hit the mark for you. You're constantly, the moment that you tell me this isn't working, I want it to be better, you have 9 other complaints to follow up. And that can be really exhausting. So
yeah. So what's the line then? Like you're asking this original question, like,
right.
Like what's the line between complaining too much and complaining an average amount? First of all, I think the line moves based on who your partner is.
Sure.
Right. Like if I get divorced to Rebecca and I marry you, like the complaint line is going to move quite a bit because of your tolerance for things versus my tolerance. You know, like.
In fact, we had that experience when we went to Germany together, and
true.
You quite literally looked at me and said, I just can't. Like,
I said, I need you to stop.
Handle, I need you to stop.
Just be done with all of the things that bother you. Letting me know all the things that bother you. But, you know, right. So the line moves based on, like, I guess the dance or the tolerance that the two people create. But just in hypothetically, let's explore this for a second. What is the line between complaining the right amount and complaining too much?
Okay, I have a few thoughts on this.
Okay.
One,
I'm into it. I'm digging this conversation, by the way, because we're gonna learn something. Yeah.
Yeah. The first is that if your relationship is at a positive sentiment override, so basically, like if your emotional bank account is already strong, you have good communication, you think your partner likes you, your partner's got your back, like your emotional bank account is filled up, I think we have a much better ability to tolerate our partner's overwhelming a number of complaints. Does that make sense? So if you complain 3 times and I hear your complaints, I'm going to be like, you know what? I can handle this. I am able to tolerate the complaints and I can do something about them. But if I have felt ignored, if I feel like you don't like me, if there's a lot of deficit when it comes to our emotional bank account and you complain 3 times, it's overwhelming. That's why it was the end of our trip together in Germany where our emotional bank account was a little drained. And you looked at me and you're like, not right now. I can't do this complaining. I could have done it at the beginning of the trip. I can't do it at the end.
I did it plenty at the beginning of the trip and the beginning and the middle and the middle of the beginning and the middle of the end. And
Yep.
No, but so again, we're stuck. We're stuck a little bit here because your answer includes that it's part of the dance. Like there's not an objective way to know
exactly
the difference between the right amount of complaining and too much. It's really about the emotional bank account. It's really about the personalities that are at the table. It's really about the dance that is created between the two people. Oh, which is going to mean it's just not that helpful.
Hold on. Yeah. Well, I have some ideas because I do have like some ideas where people will come to me and they'll say, we've been walking on eggshells. When I hear that we've been walking on eggshells, is they recognize that their emotional bank account has been overdrawn and there isn't a capacity to complain as much as they normally would. And so they're having to kind of pick and choose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they're having to pick and choose. So here's one tip that I have. For people who recognize that they have a critical mindset And so they see a lot of ways to improve the relationship, to improve their partner, to improve their experience. I would like for them to pause and rank it on a scale of 1 to 10, because I think what's going on is they're complaining about everything as far as the priorities go from 1 to 10. They complain about the little stuff. They complain about the middle stuff. They complain about the big stuff. If everything is a priority, nothing is a priority to their partner. And if you pause long enough to say, you know what, this is kind of like a 2. I'm complaining about something that isn't that big of a deal to me, but I have such a great relationship. I'm going to communicate it to my partner. I'm just asking that you discern before you communicate. This is a 7. It is something I want to communicate to my partner. If it's a 2, I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm going to be critical with myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the other thing that when you talk about that, walking on eggshells thing, like I hear people say this all the time.
I could tell, by the way, that like you had checked out of the last 2 minutes of what I just said, because you were still spinning on walking on eggshells.
Yeah. I was spinning on walking on eggshells because when people tell me they've been walking on eggshells, I say, if you walk into your kitchen right now and there are eggshells on the floor, what would you do next?
You clean them up.
You would not walk on them.
You would not. That doesn't make any sense.
If you're at the point in your relationship where like, hey, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, part of what we need to do is go, hold up. Let's clean this up here. Let's clean up what's going on here. Let's figure out what we are going, like what we both want here. It sounds like maybe one or both of us is in a weird headspace, or the emotional bank account isn't full, and we need to like drive that up. You know, I think that there's just wisdom in taking a minute to like kind of recheck whatever it is that you're inclined to be complaining about, versus just kind of powering through and figuring out whatever the next step is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, but I think that's what we're doing, is like the idea of walking on eggshells is not powering through.
No, but it's ignoring the reality of the situation, which is what did that lady say earlier today? I'm not aware enough of my environment to slow down and like, and change my strategy.
See, I think people are hypervigilant. When they're walking on eggshells, it's because they're hypervigilant of the status of the relationship, of their partner's feelings. What they're doing is they're making an educated decision. If I say this thing, my partner is going to react and respond in this way, and this is going to be the outcome for the next 3 days of isolation and stonewalling. So I actually think there's hypervigilance when people are walking on eggshells. But I'm all right. You buy that for $1?
Yeah. I mean, I think again, my point remains about the podcast, which is, does it help people think and talk about things that they're not helping and thinking? We don't have to land this metaphor about walking on eggshells, and we don't have to, it doesn't even have to commit to anything. I think we just have to appreciate that sometimes we use language like that because we don't have better language, and I'm just in search of better language. Like, stop, clean it up, or lower your vigilance, or whatever it is. But now I want to ask the opposite question, which is, what's the line between not complaining at all and complaining the right amount, or complaining too little and complaining the right amount? You have thoughts on that one?
Well, I want to talk about like, why would that, it's funny because I think people always assume the grass is greener. Like, I would love it if you just stopped complaining. It's like, talk to my couples where they're in a relationship with a non-complainer. That's a real pain in the ass too. And the non-complainers it's not that they don't see the way things could be better. There's a couple reasons, I think, first of all, why people would be non-complainers. Number one is, I think that they don't want to inconvenience their partner or ever put someone out. And that's tough. I could really go down a rabbit hole on that. There's a couple reasons. Like, I don't want for you to do something. If I complain, Zach, I don't want for you to feel like you are like indebted to changing your behavior or doing something that you don't want to do. You're just doing it to please me. And they don't want to put anybody out, right? That might be one. I don't want to complain because I'm terrified of the reaction or the response I'm getting from you. That's totally different. Right? And that could be from childhood. That could be, I just learned to be self-sufficient because I learned that when I complain, the response or the reaction that I get from you puts me in a whole other world of hurt and pain than what I experienced originally. And so I'm just deciding I will take care of things myself. There's a lot of reasons why people don't complain, but the problem is that generally the non-complainer, one, doesn't get their needs met and are unhappy. And that unhappy builds into resentment.
That's
and that
the part that
that's it, what you identify with?
Well, when I'm thinking about the line between not complaining and or like complaining the right amount and then not complaining enough, I think if your lack of complaint is building resentment for you,
right,
it becomes the line, right? Like it's one thing to be shy, or it's one thing to be tolerant, or just kind of have more like duck skin that stuff just floats up, like water floats off your back or whatever. It's another thing though to hold on to these things and allow them to build resentment and build, unhappiness, because that's sort of like when people come in and, she perhaps has not had anything to say. And then all of a sudden she's like, now here's 30 years of stuff that has been built up. It's really hard. Like sometimes I think about sometimes I'll use the metaphor of like blowing up a tire with a pump, And,
I wish I have done. Yeah. I have done that.
Yeah. But have you blown it up so much that you exploded the tire?
Yes.
Or you overfilled it and then you started riding, and because there was too much pressure inside the tire, it would burst. We need ways from time to time to go
to let the tension out.
And let it out. And so I think, that has to be the line between I'm willing to let this go versus no, I need to, let's call it complain just to get this thing, just to get back to like a sustainable sustainable pressure inside of the relationship.
Here's what I have heard as far as like the argument as to why people don't complain. And it could be for a myriad of reasons, right? Like the background is to, if I complain, you're going to feel like you have to do something. I don't want to inconvenience you. But what they say is that I can take care of it myself. But the problem is that the partner is always perceiving your dissatisfaction and your unhappiness. And as much as you think that you're able to keep your unhappiness or your dissatisfaction, your complaints to yourself, you can't. Your grumpiness or your irritability or your anxiety is very visible to your partner because they're attuned to you. And all your partner wants to do is understand, how can I make this better? And if you're not willing to give them the ability to even turn towards you and make it better, you're creating more distance and disconnection in the relationship. So I think that you are trying to convince yourself that you can stuff it down and you can manage it on your own, but you can't. You might not believe that you have resentment in your heart, but you have anxiety, you have frustration, you have irritability, and we can see it, feel it. It is palpable. And it's impacting more than just you at that point. And if it's impacting your partner, give your partner the ability to make it better. Talk to them, tell them, complain, let some of that pressure out.
And we have to put all of this back into the complaint has to include the responsible ask, what it is that you actually want. I think there's one other caveat that perhaps I've found myself coaching couples on a lot more than you might think, which is sometimes you just need to complain. And so Rebecca may come to me, or like we're having issues right now with, well, doesn't matter what we're having issues with because, but we're having issues right now with one of our kids in particular. And, sometimes we just need one or the other of us to just go, can I just bitch for a little while? Can I just complain for a second? And please don't I'm not looking for a solution. I'm not looking for any, in fact, set a timer for 3 minutes and I can be done. Like sometimes there's just that. But that's also a function of like a strong friendship in the relationship or a full emotional bank account or just a kind of a clear sense of negotiation. So I do think that there's space for strictly complaining without asking, as long as that's the shared expectation, right? Like as long as that's the thing that we both are doing here, because otherwise, you just start complaining. Your partner has no idea what to do.
Right.
Although we did get this piece of advice. I think I've said this on the podcast before, but this idea of like, when you hear somebody complain, you go, do you want to be helped, heard, or hugged?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but there's something there, right? There's something about just like letting you vent versus actually providing a solution versus comforting you in your complaint. I like the thought experiment around too much or too little. I'm bummed that we didn't find some clever little like solution about what it actually is, because it is highly dependent upon the dance. But I hope it's a conversation that people will lean into.
So I gave a tip. If you are in a relationship where either you complain too much or you ask for too much and there's an imbalance in the relationship, what you can do. One, I said prioritize, like figure out on a scale of 1 to 10, what is this? I can keep it to myself. Or I can, the other thing is like, don't complain about 5 things all at once. Like really like prioritize and then let it give your partner one complaint and have a very clear ask. And then allow some time to go by, put some deposits in the emotional bank account, have another ask. Like you be strategic in how you have your complaints and your asks. But then a tip of if you are not complaining enough, do you have any tips that you would offer?
I think it's just, I think there's some real power in checking in with yourself and understanding whether or not the thing that you are complaining about is, like there's kind of this kindergarten trope, right? That you learn about, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Like, it's almost like you need to check in with yourself about, PhDs are teaching therapists this now and they're charging $1 million. I know for a fact that Abby learned this in kindergarten.
Everything.
Is it true? Is it nice?
No,
is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? But like when you have a thing inside of you, and it feels like a complaint, particularly if it's part of the relationship, I think you ought to learn how to express it, and you ought to learn how to express it in a way that is true and kind and reflects how necessary it is. Sometimes if I'm just, Rebecca did this the other day to me and I was like, this doesn't quite exactly matter, but she like asked me to do a thing that I do 90% of the time, but then one time I didn't do it. And she was like, hey, can you just remember to do the thing? And I was sort of like, that's not necessary, but she didn't know the difference. It was necessary for her. And she did it in a way that was true and kind, because I had forgotten to do the thing. And so I don't know, man, I think internally, maybe there's just this little gauge that you can have, that if particularly if you are a non-complainer, but you find that it feels necessary to avoid resentment for you or avoid, pain for you, then by all means, start to take that risk and start to complain a little bit. Again, with the caveat that it's kind, there's kindness in it and there's truth in it, and that it's necessary for you. That'd be my advice to those who are less inclined to complain, which I could go into a lot more detail, but I know we're almost out of time. Yeah.
I also am all about systems. And if I'm a non-complainer, but I show up to a meeting and the meeting is, the agenda item is today we're going to complain, then I'm like, okay, I know that I need to dig inside and I need to have some kind of a complaint. And we've talked about this if you happen to know the episode name, it's the State of the Union. It's a weekly meeting that we prescribe. 262. I knew you would know that because you are you. Go back and listen to episode 262. It outlines a weekly meeting for couples. And the purpose starts off with, let's build up the relationship. What did I get right? What did we get right? How are we crushing it this week?
Loading up that emotional bank account.
Exactly. But it also gives time and space to be able to let the pressure out of the relationship a little bit. If you've been powering through, and maybe I don't want to go back to walking on eggshells, but if you've been powering through the week and you haven't had time to say, hey, by the way, can we go back to this thing? Yep.
Let the air out of the tire.
It's just allowing you a little bit of time to say, hey, I know that this happened 4 days ago, but it's kind of been on my mind and it hurt my feelings. And I just wanted an opportunity to kind of air my feelings about that. That's the purpose of this conversation also. And then the final piece is, what can we be aware of that we need coming up in the next week? And so it's kind of fun because it gives you an opportunity to complain, but it also gives you an opportunity to have an ask and to make a request. And if that's a muscle that you just haven't used much of, this is a time and a space, and then you don't have to use that muscle again until the following week, which is kind of great.
I'm into it.
Right.
That was cool. I like those where we just sort of like see what comes out.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Okay. Well, let's land this plane.
Yep.
And then we get to go on with our week.
Yeah. And good luck, Mary, in the state tournament. I'll let you know how it goes.
All right.
Oh, hey, by the way, also I wanted to tell you, everybody, Sophia got an A on her paper. My 14-year-old interview, like yeah. So just so in case you were wondering, she let me know that she got an A. So we're happy for her. Congratulations, Sophia.
Yeah. Congrats, Sophia. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. We spent a good amount of time talking about our Patreon. I guess we would call it maybe like a proposal or either way, I think you should check it out. You can find our Patreon by going to our website, marriagetherapyradio.com. Top right-hand tab says Patreon. From there, you can kind of sign up. And at the very least, it would be, the cost of a cup of coffee per month. And then you get access to all of the behind the scenes, fun, additional things that are going on in our lives. Or just contribute in whatever way makes sense for you and your family. Thanks for all of your time and attention, making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.